What would you do if I tell you there's a budget-friendly lens out for your Sony E-mount system, which equals 40mm in focal length, got a wide aperture of f2.5, got great sharpness, great image quality or performance, and overall cost less than £200. But before we're diving deeper into the lens, we need to try it out in real life, so let's go. And this gives me enough separation to the background now. So over here, make another step to your left. So let's go a bit more dramatic, right until grandma's out of the picture. Let's go a bit lower and see.
Oh, that's cool.
From a different, bit lower angle.
Yeah.
Instead of straight up.
That's cool. I like it.
And then turn the ball around and then get down there. One more, 1 second. Just doing a test shot. 3, 2, 1. Oh, well, we'll actually keep it like this. Do cross your legs over, put the ball a bit forward, and then you just put your legs down. And eyes to me. 3, 2, 1. We're actually gonna stand up. And we're gonna lean against the fence. Okay. And we're talking about the Viltrox 40mm f2.5 full frame autofocus lens for your Sony E-mount. Let me be completely honest, as Viltrox reached out to ask me if I would like to try the new Viltrox 40mm f2.5 lens, I had my concerns. A lens which costs less than £200 equals a full frame lens with a focal length of 40mm and a wide aperture of f2.5. Can it be any good? Can the autofocus keep up with the Sony system? What's the image quality like? And overall, what's the performance? Is it worth spending £200 on a budget lens? Those being my questions. And I need to say, I was happily surprised how this lens performs for a price tag of £200 or less than £200 here in the UK. The next question is obviously, where does this lens fit into? Because it is a focal length of 40mm. You have your classic 35mm, you have your classic 50mm, and on top of it, f2.5 is not the fastest aperture you can get for a prime lens. With the image quality of razor sharp images at the middle of a frame at f2.5, it is outstanding how sharp this lens is when you open up the aperture. At the aperture of f2.5, I was mind-blown how sharp this tiny little budget lens is. But also the corner sharpness from corner to corner is decent enough. And as soon as you step down your lens a bit to, let's say, a f4, you can see how much your sharpness increases as well. When it comes down to the image quality, this lens is definitely a stunning lens and outperforms the expectation. When it comes down to the background separation, you got plenty of background separation at the aperture of f2.5. Obviously, that's personal preference. If you need a wider aperture, you want more background separation, but this lens will definitely give you enough separation from your subject towards the background. But also when it comes down to the autofocus performance, I didn't see any noticeable hunting and the lens performed very well under good lighting conditions. I used the lens in different configurations with the Sony A7IV IV, such as like I had the eye autofocus on, used the single shot autofocus and the continuous focus. And in every 3 combinations or configurations, the lens kept up nicely, found focus, hit focus very fast and accurate as well. By a price tag of less than £200, you would expect a cheap build lens. But this little 40mm f2.5 feels very solid and premium in your hands, and it balances quite well with the Sony A7IV Mark IV as well. Though you don't have any in lens stabilization, you don't have any weather resistance, you don't have any buttons on this lens. This lens is purely down to the minimalistic approach as possible. You got your zoom ring, and that's pretty much all it is on a lens. You have a USB-C port which can be used to update the software in the future when Viltrox is going to bring out any software updates for this lens. But overall speaking, straight out of the box, this lens performs already very well, and I'm curious to see what Viltrox does software related to improve this lens even further. So, but here's now the question, who is this lens for? Where does this lens fits in? Right now, if you have your classic 35mm focal length, you got your classic 55mm, your nifty 50, where does this 40mm f2.5 lens actually fits in? For my first thoughts, I would say everyone who wants to get a prime lens because of a price tag. For a price tag of less than £200, this lens outperforms probably some of the bigger brands. It's sharp in the middle, got good autofocus, is lightweight, compact, and got a price tag of less than £200. So for everyone who's looking into getting their first prime lens, which will be close to their 50mm, because a 40mm focal length is still close enough to the eyesight, so you basically get what you see. But then also I can see this lens be used for your everyday lens, your running gun lens, for street photography, or even portraits. But this is not everything. You can literally use this lens anywhere and everywhere you want. So with that said, I hope this gave you a little first impression of a Viltrox 40mm f2.5 lens. And with that said, like, comment, subscribe, my friend. I'm going to see you very soon in another video. Take care.